have to admit, this is the most worried I have ever been about bombing in front of strangers, which is really saying a lot because I'm in my 40s and on TikTok. I've been viewed by millions of people, most of whom are the meanest 12-year-olds you have ever met in your entire life. But here I am, and I really have like a lot to worry about. Today, I'm really worried about AI taking my job. And you should also be really, really worried about this. Not about your job, about my job. You should be really worried about AI taking my job because I am a professor who teaches AI ethics. So, like, sit with that dystopia for a moment. But some of you, I suspect, actually know a little bit more about AI safety than you realize, because I think it's actually a whole lot like gentle parenting. Braley Braxton, GPT. You're making mommy really sad right now. Do we undermine democracy? No, we do not. I think that we can make some better choices. We could be a little less racist, undermine a little less privacy. Like, I think that we can do better. But it makes a lot of sense, actually, because AI is basically a toddler at this point. Like, I promise you, it's much less smart than you think it is. And that's a problem because it's also a toddler with a flamethrower. And the fire is racism and misinformation. So this is a really stressful job sometimes, actually. You know, parents are like, am I doing a good job raising a good human? And AI researchers are like, I could be, you know, creating a benevolent AI that's going to help solve climate change, or I might be unleashing a sociopath who's just really good at writing forum emails. But if the fate of humanity is in my hands, I have some really good news, which is that I have some extremely relevant experience, which is that I once trained animals at the zoo. So let's go back in time about 20 years when the only AI you were worried about was Clippy annoying the shit out of you. And here I am with my fanny pack full of treats, an intro textbook knowledge of behavioral psychology, and a clicker. And I am ready to train the heck out of some goats. I don't know if any of you have spent time with goats, but they are delightful. These were like goat yoga goats. Very cutesy, very mindful, very demure goats. And I, for reasons that haunt me to this day, was in the back of the line. So I watched as the guy in front of me was given the last goat. They ran out of goats. So the zoo person goes into the barn and comes out a few minutes later with an absolutely enormous sheep. And deposits said sheep next to me as if I won't notice the difference. And you do not look like your profile photo. The wool is being pulled over my eyes. But I need an A on every assignment. So I smile and nod as a zoo person tells me that, Casey, you have such an important task. Good news, you only have to teach this sheep one command, and that command is back up, because she keeps attacking children. This is a 100% true story, by the way. And so I watch as my classmates have magical experiences with their goats. These goats are walking on their hind legs, they're like dancing in circles and on command, and meanwhile I have been tasked with teaching this creature, who by the way clearly hates me, to be less of an asshole. Which I think might be kind of like parenting a teenager, but I don't know. But I can guarantee you that gentle parenting would not have worked in this situation. And frankly, neither did the clicker training. Like, I don't know if this sheep ended up harming someone, but probably. And I never knew if it was because the sheep was stupid, or evil, or I was just incompetent. And with that age-old question, let's go back to AI. Because AI should have been the goat in this story, right? Like, the goat of all technology. But unfortunately, we got the sheep. And it is not as mindful and demure as you thought that it was. It also just like keeps headbutting things to oversee jobs, privacy. And there are people trying to teach it to back up. But right now, the people wielding the clicker is a team of 5 white guys. And their idea of diversity is a guy named Jeff from MIT and a guy named Jeff from Stanford. So here we go. I think maybe we just need a sheepdog. But in the meantime, I would just ask you, leave you with this note. When you see the next AI controversy, do not blame me, like knowing the fate of the world is in my hand. Blame its father, Jeff. And Jeff and Jeff and Jeff. And thank you so much for the laughs, because I will hold this close to my heart when I go back to the 12-year-olds on TikTok. Thank you.